Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Karen and welcome to Karen's Knit Picks. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different since it's my first podcast of the year. I've decided I'm actually going to go over my 2023 winter knitting plans. I only have two finished objects to talk about, and they were both gift knits, so I actually don't even physically have them with me. So I'll share a picture of them. But yeah, I want to focus mostly on some of the things that I would like to work on this coming season. So yeah, I mean, we'll just get into it. But first, I just want to say thank you very much for all of your support so far. This has been just such a lovely experience being in the knitting community and the knitting podcast community. I really appreciate all your very kind, wonderful comments, and I am just really happy to be here, and I appreciate your support. So if you like these videos, just make sure that you subscribe so you can see more of my videos in the future. I have some fun things planned for this year, and like and comment so that hopefully more people can see my videos in the future. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to be notified for when I lost my train of thought. If you want to be notified when I post new videos, just make sure to hit the notification bell and you will be notified when I post new stuff. So I think that's it. So let us just get into it. Okay, so first things first, I will talk about my two finished objects just because I am actually super proud of them because I finished, one of them. So let's back up for a second. My two finished objects were my Oslo Hats by Petite Knit. I made one for my dad and one for my mom for Christmas. And I think I shared them both in my last podcast episode. I was like halfway done with one of them, and I had just cast on the other one. So I was in pretty good shape at that point. I had maybe like 2 weeks before Christmas, something like that. No, like a week until Christmas. I was able to finish both of them before Christmas. One of them, the one for my mom, was like a nail biter. I finished it at like 1:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. We were going to my mom's house for Christmas Eve dinner, so I finished it like the night before, really late into evening. But they both got done, and that's all that matters. So I will post a photo maybe here somewhere so you can see both of the hats. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I used Hobby Friends Extra Fine Merino for both of them. One was in Midnight Blue, the one for my dad, and then I used the color Sapphire for my mom. And I really like the construction for both of them. I think it was like very easy to work on. I really enjoyed the process. Doing stockinette in the round is just like such a pleasant process, but it kept it interesting because you have to like knit the cast on edge, you turn your work, and you can do some decreases. So it's, I think, just a little bit more interesting, and it's not as like boring, I guess, as like knitting the body of a sweater, for example. So yeah, I am really happy with them. And I have some more yarn to make more Oslo hats, but I need a little bit of a break from doing accessories. Well, sort of. I have accessories that I have on my needles right now, but I want to kind of focus on building out my wardrobe, which I think is a theme that you will see in my 2023 winter knitting plans. So yeah, so that is pretty much it for finished objects. I have one more gift knit that I ended up not finishing. It was my Cumberland blanket, but I needed more time. I didn't focus. I started it, I think, early enough, but I didn't focus on it enough where I could finish it on time. So unfortunately, I have to just keep working on it, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll be done. I don't want to take too long, so I hope to finish it in maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks, that it's done for the next podcast episode. So I think that's everything for now, for finished objects at least. So I'm gonna just actually jump into my winter knitting plans. Okay, so first up for my winter knitting plans, it's mainly like 100 sweaters, and there's a lot on my plans, so the odds of me finishing all of these in the winter season is slim, but I am probably at least going to cast most of these on. So yeah. So I think first I'll start with my accessories and then I'll move on to the sweaters. So accessories wise, I think I bought more yarn to do the Oslo hats, so I think at the very least I am probably going to do those. My plans are one for my boyfriend and then one for myself, and then after that I'm done gift knitting. Or I don't know, I'm not done gift knitting, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break before I start another gift knit, because I feel like I haven't gotten to knit anything for myself since I started knitting, and the whole point of me knitting was to be able to knit things for myself. So yeah, so that is just, it's a separate issue, but that's my next plan, or maybe not my next plan, but one of my plans is going to be to do 2 more Oslo hats. I did see that she made Petite Knit, is working on a ribbed hat, which I actually really like, so I probably will want to buy that one, but I think that hat requires mohair, which I don't know about. I don't know if I want to buy mohair right now, so I might just make the Oslo hats and then make the other hats maybe in the fall. So we'll see. And then in addition to the Oslo hats, I do still need to make my crew headband, which is by Spectacle Strick. I really need a headband. So I've explained this in actually one of my previous podcast episodes, but basically I go to the gym in the morning and it's very cold where I live, and it's like very windy, but I am going to the gym, so my hair is usually up in a bun, and so I can't really wear a regular hat. I do have earmuffs now. I ended up deciding to get earmuffs because they're super cute, but also it was a good way to tide myself over until I could make the headband. But yeah, I do think I need to make the headband probably pretty soon. So I have a couple whips I want to finish first, and then I think that will actually be one of the next things that I cast on before I do anything else. Because it's a super easy pattern. I think it should take me a couple of hours at most. So that is definitely next up on my list. And then the next thing, it's not necessarily an accessory, it really is a garment, but I am going to include it here because it's small. So the next thing on my list is definitely going to be some more vanilla socks. I bought red sock yarn from Hobby a couple of weeks ago because I really would like to knit red socks. Those red socks are probably the only reason I decided to start knitting socks in the first place. So I would like to knit them. So those are going to be high up on my list, but I have a feeling, I have one pair of socks that I'm working on and I just love it. It's so comfortable to knit for me now. I'm using 9-inch circular needles and I'm very much in a nice flow with it. It just looks really nice. It's super satisfying. So I am probably going to be knitting socks all year long. I don't see why I would stop. So I think there's going to be a lot of socks in my future. Probably mostly vanilla socks because I have things, certain colors that I want included in my wardrobe. But I also saw some socks from the Petite Knitter, which were called the Ovis socks, and they have little cutie sheep on them. So I think those are going to be another pair of socks that I probably test out. And then I also bought the sock patterns from Ozetta. So those are probably going to be all the socks that I make this year. I have to finish my first pair of socks first. I haven't even finished the first sock, let alone a pair. So I have some catching up to do. But yeah, so those are it for my first round of like accessory, not quite garment pieces that I'm going to be working on this winter 2023. So as a side note, our Nespresso machine is like not working this morning, and I was able to make 1 cup of coffee, but then I wanted a second one, so I decided to use our French press instead. And it just like is a really nice reminder that it's very nice to drink like real coffee, not Nespresso pod coffee. So yeah, I mean, I have a deep appreciation for our French press, and like regular drip coffee is so nice. But I do love our machine, our Nespresso, so cross your fingers that we get it fixed. Okay, anyway, I digress. Next up for my winter knitting plans. So these next two, I think, are the projects, at least one of them are projects that I'm going to cast on pretty soon. One of them has a deadline, the other I just really am excited about. So I think the first one, they're both going to be the Novice Cardigan by Petite Knit, but I would like to do one in the chunky version and then one in the mohair version. So you'll notice there's a theme that I only want to make cardigans this season for some reason. I wear a lot of cardigans in my regular life, as you might have noticed. I think I've worn a cardigan in almost every episode I've filmed of this podcast, actually. Maybe except one, not that there's a ton of episodes in the first place. Anyway, so you'll notice the theme that I only want to make cardigans this winter. Which is good though, because I wear them pretty often in the spring. So I think I'll be very thankful that I have them in the first place. Anyway, the first thing that I would like to cast on for 2023 is going to be this Novice Cardigan. It's the chunky edition. And I've talked about this very briefly, but I already got the yarn in for it because I was doing an order from Hobby and I didn't want to miss out, I guess. I just wanted to have it ready for when I was ready to start it, because this one actually has a deadline. I have an event coming up for my job, nothing crazy, but I wanted to have this cardigan ready to go because selfishly I want people to say, wow, I love your sweater, where did you get it? And I can say, oh, I made it. I made it myself, you know. So that's why I want to have this finished. I am going to use Hobby Friends 100% wool and then the Kid Silk mohair from Hobby, both in the color Sapphire, because I love this. I cannot get enough of this beautiful cobalt blue right now. And then I also think I'm going to do like matching blue buttons. I have a couple of sets of buttons. I just have to kind of pick which one fits and makes the most sense and is like the best size for the cardigan. So we shall see, but I am so excited to cast this on. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna make the mohair version, and instead of doing something classic and typical, I decided to go with hot pink, of course. It seems very fitting. I cannot stop, like even outside of knitting, I can't stop buying like bright, beautiful, jewel toned colors. Like I have so many pairs of trousers and blazers and other sweaters in these like stunning jewel tones. So it seems to just be a theme that I am following in my life right now. So anyway, this is the same kid silk mohair from Hobby. I am going to use this beautiful pink color to knit the mohair version of the Novice cardigan. I'm not in a rush for this one the same way that I am for the other one, so I will probably take my time with it because cardigans, of course, you knit flat and they are just not that interesting to make, but I do think like the finished product is worth having it. So I'm gonna just push through and make this probably soon, but I might wait until February for this. I don't know, we'll see, but I'm very excited about this. So those are actually the only two projects that I've actually ordered yarn for. I have a couple others where I've picked out the yarn that I want to get and I just haven't ordered it yet, but I've purchased all of these patterns, but I'm trying to not spend all of my money on yarn that I'm not ready to use. So I decided I'm gonna wait to purchase the yarn until I'm ready to actually cast the project on. So with that being said, these next couple are going to be projects that I've picked out the yarn, and as soon as I am ready to go, I will be casting it on. So the first up is something that is actually missing in my wardrobe. Before I started knitting, I still run a fashion blog. And so I have a pretty extensive wardrobe, I will admit. There is one item that I felt like was missing from my wardrobe. I couldn't quite find exactly what I wanted in the stores in a material that worked really well for me and it was comfortable. So I decided I am just going to do something else and make it my own instead of having to buy it from a store. So I have decided to make a white turtleneck sweater, and the pattern that I've decided to use is the Winter's Pullover by Ozetta. It is just a drop shoulder construction turtleneck sweater. It's super oversized and comfy cozy, so I'm really excited about making this one. I think it'll be really nice, and of course it's gonna get a ton of use because it's a piece that is missing already from my wardrobe. It's not like just for fun. It's something that I feel like would be essential and well loved. So that's why I'm making it. And I've already decided to pick out the yarn for this one because I knew I wanted a white sweater, and I've watched a lot of other podcast episodes, and the yarn that I decided on just seems to consistently have rave reviews. It's affordable. Everyone says that it's really comfortable and soft. It's a great yarn to work with, so I figured I would give it a try because I've never used it before. So I've decided to use Drops Air for my turtleneck sweater because of all the things that I just mentioned. It's affordable and comfortable and super soft. So I'm gonna give it a shot and see how I like working with it. And plus it's a good excuse to try a new yarn brand, one that a lot of people really love to use. So I think it'll be worth a shot, and we'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to use the color Off-White in Drops Air. I think I like that it's got a nice kind of fuzzy texture to it. It's blown yarn, so it's kind of like airy and It's a little bit thicker, not thicker, like it's kind of like a tube almost, which I think will be really comfortable and interesting for the turtleneck. So that's the next one that I am hoping to cast on. I think that one and the Novice Cardigan Chunky Edition will be the first two sweaters that I cast on for this month in January, because I think that they are the most important out of all the ones that I'm working on. So the next sweater on my list of things to knit for this winter is one that is, I think, a little bit more interesting and advanced for my skill level. If you've noticed, I've knit a lot of very simple patterns, a lot of stockinette stitch patterns, patterns that don't require a lot of more advanced techniques, or like more interesting patterns. Like I've never had to read a color chart or like lace chart or pattern chart or anything like that before. So I figured I've made enough things where I feel very comfortable with the simpler stitches, and I feel like now is a good time to try something more intricate. So the next sweater that is on my list of things to make is going to be sweater number 18 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This pattern, I think, only goes up to a size 2XL, so it's not size inclusive, but it is one of her older patterns, so I don't know if she has any plans of revising them, but yeah, I would still like to make it because I really think the pattern is beautiful. So that is another sweater that is really high up on my list. I think it just looks beautiful. I always look through the hashtag for it on Instagram, and I just love the way that it looks. What did I say that it's sweater number 18? I hope so. I purchased the pattern for this one already, and I've picked out the yarn that I want to use. One of the recommended yarns is the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino and the Soft Silk Mohair, so I've decided to use those. I really like the color Marzipan. It's, I think, for me personally, the perfect color to use for that sweater because it's a lighter color, so you'll see the pattern really nicely. And I also just think it would be great to have a more textured knit in a kind of off-white creamy color. So that is why I decided to pick that color, and I think that the sweater, the general construction is pretty simple. I think it's a drop shoulder, so it should be pretty easy to knit, but I think having that texture throughout the sweater will keep the whole process interesting for me and really push me to make sure that I'm staying focused and paying attention to what I'm doing, because I feel like I make mistakes just because I get so on autopilot when I'm knitting things that are very simple. I want to just push myself to pay a little bit more attention and focus on what I'm doing. So I think that is going to be a really fun knit to make, and I'm really looking forward to just making something that has a little bit more texture and a little bit more pattern, and just adding those things to my closet, because even things that I've purchased really don't have that much texture, and I think that adding beautiful textures, different fabrics into your wardrobe is very important to have a cohesive closet, and just making it a little bit more interesting, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So that's next up on my list. Kind of feeding off of that, in that I want something with a little bit more texture, I've also decided to make another cardigan. I know it's a lot of cardigans, but I did preface this video by saying that there's a lot of cardigans. So I would also like to make the Scallop Jacket by Strikkekaffe, which I think is a Norwegian brand, or maybe it's a Danish brand. I think Strikkekaffe is Norwegian phrase, so I am gonna assume that they are Norwegian. And I love this jacket, or this cardigan. I think it's beautiful. I don't know what maybe it's just the way that it looks on the model on the website, but I just think it's such a really beautiful cardigan, and I'm really excited to make it. It's knit in, I think, a 2x2 rib, and it has beautiful, beautiful texture. And again, like with cardigans, I don't really have anything that has texture to it, so I think it will be a really great piece to add into my wardrobe. But again, it's a cardigan, so it's going to be a lot of work to make it. I'm going to take my time with it. I don't really have a time limit on how or when I want to have these finished by, so I can just enjoy the process, which I think will be really nice. I have also picked out the yarn for this one, and originally I actually wanted to use the Knitting for Olive yarn in the color Marzipan for this one because I thought it would be, I really like the one that is on the model on her website, so I originally was going to use that yarn, but then I decided that the sweater number 18 would look probably best in that color, and I didn't want to commit to having two sweaters in the same exact yarn, so I decided it'll be the same yarn, but I'll pick a different color. So I'm not 100% sold, but I do think it's going to give me the same look without the same exact look, I guess. The look I'm going for without being exactly the same. So I've decided, I'm torn, I guess, on the color Wheat and the color Oat. I like the color Wheat because it's a little bit warmer, it's a little bit more tan almost, and I think the Oat color or in person, I think it ends up looking a little bit more taupey and a little bit more cool toned. So I'm undecided on the color, but I am going to use Knitting for Olive Merino and the soft silk mohair. I can't remember if I need to use the heavy merino to meet the gauge or if I need the regular merino, so I have to double check, but I haven't ordered yarn yet, so as soon as I do that I will, but hopefully probably by the end of the month I will do that so I can cast them on right away. And that, I mean, those are probably all the ones that I'm gonna start in January, hopefully. And then I just have a couple more to get through that I want to work on through the rest of the season. So we'll get into those. I hope that this is not boring because I'm just sitting here. I don't even have anything to show you guys. So sorry if it is, but I really enjoy watching these like knitting plan videos for the season. I feel like it gives me fresh ideas. So that's what I'm gonna do, I guess. But yeah, sorry I don't have yarn. I feel like sometimes people do have yarn for these, but oh well. I can't spend all my money on yarn right now. Okay, I am almost done now. I only have a couple more sweaters that I want to make. So let's get into it. Oh shoot. I'm realizing I have one more that is kind of like an accessory that I didn't include in my accessories, so I guess I will share it now. So the next one that is kind of more like an accessory is actually going to be the Terrazzo Neck by Petite Knit. I have been watching other podcasters make this, and I think it's super interesting. I think it's a cool piece to have. I think it's probably super useful for the days that you don't want to wear a scarf. So I have been making a huge effort now to layer a lot when I'm getting dressed. So I will wear like, you know, a t-shirt and then put my sweater on and you know, depending, put a vest on or a blazer or some sort of like lighter jacket before I put on my wool coat or my winter coat, whatever the case is, depending on how cold it is. And it's been super helpful, but if I wear like my regular wool coat, you know, normally they have like a V-neck kind of lapel, and I feel like I would like to have something that covers my neck without like having to wear a turtleneck t-shirt necessarily, or a turtleneck sweater. I feel like I don't always want a turtleneck sweater, full sweater on. So I don't know, I keep seeing people make the terrazzo neck and I feel like it would be cool, just a cool piece to have. So I am gonna make the terrazzo neck. I haven't looked too much into the pattern. I don't know what I want to make it out of yet. So I haven't picked yarn or anything, but I do think that I want to make it in, again, like that creamy white color. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of creamy white things by the end of this season. But I think it would go really nicely with my wardrobe. I also think that it's better for me to have it in like a neutral color first before I make funky ones, because I will most likely end up making like a pink one or a purple one or yellow or something like that. Like, I know that I have it in me and I will wear it probably more often than the white one. But I do think I need to balance. I knit things in funky colors a lot of the time. I don't think I've made anything neutral except for my slip over, and that was just because I didn't know what yarn to pick. So I definitely need to make sure that I have a balance of neutrals and fun colors. So yeah, I think I'm gonna make that. I think it's gonna be a really just like funky piece to have, and I'm hoping it'll be quick too. I think it's made on small needles, but I'm gonna finesse it and make it go quick, because I really would like to have it, especially while it's cold, and if not, I can just wait until next year, but it feels like a shame to wait that long, so hopefully we'll see. Sometimes talking so much like this makes me like sweaty. Like, I feel like I'm sweating right now just from sitting here talking. Okay, so the last two things that I'm gonna make is another cardigan, and then I have another sweater, and then I am done for the winter. And these, I think a lot of these will probably go into the spring, but whatever, it is what it is. I am a slow knitter and that is just the way it is. So the next thing that I think I'm gonna probably make, this is, I think, probably gonna be like a late February, early March cast on, but I am making it really like with the intention of having it for the spring, so I don't mind that. So I have decided to make cardigan number 7. I think number 1 is a really stunning pattern. It's a little bit more feminine than some of the other pieces in my closet, because it has that like almost not quite balloon sleeve, but it has kind of like a puffy sleeve at your wrist, and it has like a cropped wrist, so it shows more of your wrist than like a normal cardigan would, which I like, actually. I think it's a nice piece that's going to be a great addition to my closet, because in the spring and the summer I do like to wear a lot of dresses and skirts. I try to wear skirts in the winter still too, but it is, you know, it gets pretty cold here, and I thought that the cardigan number 7 would be a nice piece to have to wear with my dresses. However, I feel like instead of making it in like a light pink or like a light blue, white, something easy to style, I feel like I really need it in like a bright green. So that's what we're doing. I haven't quite decided what I want to use exactly. Okay. Somebody rang my doorbell, so I got a little distracted. I was saying that I want to make the cardigan number 7 in like a bright green, like Kelly green. So I was doing a little bit of research and it looks like, so I guess I'm torn on what I exactly want it to be, because I also want it to be light enough that I can actually wear it in the spring, and I don't want to be like overheating because I am a sweaty gal, so I don't want to be too warm. So we'll see. So I'm thinking like bright Kelly green, like Bottega green, and I think it would be fun. So I looked at the Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Clover Green, which I think is nice. It's not quite the green that I would want though. It's a little bit more yellow, and I kind of want like a true Kelly green, I think. So I'm gonna look at some other brands and see if I can find something that is similar, and if I can, if I cannot, then I will figure it out. So I think it will be fun. I think it's gonna be, in general, a fun piece to have, like just to wear with jeans, and I have a couple of green like satin skirts. I think that will look really nice, and of course like to wear over with like a t-shirt or something, just loose, open. I think it will be a nice piece to add a more feminine touch to my wardrobe, but I think it will still be cute to wear over dresses. Last but not least, I have one more sweater that I want to make, and this is gonna be the Marseille Sweater by Petite Knit. And a lot of people make this one, especially right now, because striped sweaters are very much in the fashion world, and what's more fun than being able to make it yourself, right? Of course. So this is another one that I think I will probably end up casting on like in the late winter, probably like late February, early March if I get to it. And this one is going to very much be a spring sweater for me personally. I think the pattern she uses merino wool. I don't know if there's mohair, but she definitely at least uses merino wool. And I have decided I want to make it in cotton so that it is a little bit more breathable and I can wear it a little bit later into the spring and early summer. Because I think like if you're gonna make a striped sweater, like it should be one that you can wear like in the spring. It's, I don't know, I feel like the striped sweater and like you go to the beach or something, it's like a nice thing to have. So I don't know, whatever, that's very specific. So I'm just whatever. I'm gonna make it in cotton. I haven't looked at cotton yarns yet. I want it to be, that is a sweater that I want to be something I hold on to in my wardrobe for a really, really long time. So I'm gonna probably look at a nicer cotton yarn, whatever that might be. Maybe it'll be, probably will be like a Senescarn cotton, or I don't know. Yeah, Senescarn maybe. I haven't really looked yet though, but I would like to make it in something a little bit lighter and breezier and airier, because I think it'll be just a nice sweater to have for the springtime. So that's gonna be the last one. I don't know what color I want to use. I don't know like anything. I only just bought the pattern a couple of days ago, so I think I have to do a little bit of research, but I'm not concerned. I have time and I have plenty of things to work on in the meantime. So I think that will be it for now, actually. Okay, that is all. I know I did a crazy amount of talking in this podcast episode, but I guess that's technically what podcasts are for. So that's everything. I will have hopefully some more finished objects for you in the next episode. probably some more whips to share, probably some acquisitions in the next one. So we'll be back to normal format in the next one. And if there's anything that you would like to see from me other than podcast episodes, please leave a comment below and let me know, because I'm totally open to suggestions. I want to share more about my process and like how I pick patterns and yarns, and just, I guess, how I plan to get myself from being a beginner knitter up to, you know, an advanced expert knitter, so I can take on some of those more difficult patterns and more intricate patterns. So yeah, if there's anything you want to see from me, please let me know. Be sure to like and comment. I would love to know what you're planning to work on this winter. I am always curious because I'm nosy and it will hopefully give me some ideas for what to make later in the season or next year even, or just some knitwear designers that I haven't even heard of yet, you know. So I only know what's popular right now because that's the stuff that comes up most frequently. So yeah, I'm totally open. So let me know. Let me know what you want to see from me, what you are planning to make. Be sure to like this video, and thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Be sure to subscribe so you can see more of my videos in the future. And that is all. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will chat with you in the next episode. Bye.